Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I am Hanyo, your Demon Cinephile, and there's an episode of Mayfair Witches that came out a week ago, almost a week ago, and I did not re, react to it because I just forgot. I'm I really don't want to make these videos anymore because it's a pain. It's a pain just to react to this show. It's a pain to watch this show. I really don't like it. I really don't like it. I kind of started liking it, like the first few episodes of season 2, because it had a little bit more of a darker tone, but that didn't really save it. It did not save it. But yeah, this is episode. No, this is season 2, episode 7, A Tangled Web. And actually, a lot of stuff does happen in this episode, which is weird. It feels like all this should have been built up, like beginning since the beginning of episode 1. Just a minute with the keyboard, sorry. Yeah, like all the characters go on their own little adventures. Like everyone's separate this episode, it, and everybody gets to do so much except for Mona or Moira and Larkin. So let's start off with. I'm not sure when to start off with. The episode kind of begins with Cortland and Ian having some brotherly bonding time, and they're talking about the festival and the feast. After Lasher marries Emilith, that all the Mayfair magic will be enhanced to something beyond parlor tricks, which is cool. People being pretty vague on it though, like what exactly that means and how they have to do it. I mean, I don't want them to full on explaining it to me, but I just hope the payoff is actually pretty good. Yeah, they kept using the word the feast, so I can imagine what they're gonna do, especially with little baby Taltos. I have to take some baby Taltos and stick them in a stew. um, no, but Ian makes up this story that supposed something that happened between him and Clifford. I was gonna say Clifford. I actually forgot the name now because the character sucks. um, Harry Hamlin's character. That's why I was calling him Harry Hamlin. Do I remember the character name? Cortland. Yeah, he tells Cortland this BS story that apparently happened when they were kids. He's like, "Hey, that didn't really happen." Starts threatening him, and he just tells the truth. Like, "Hey, our father erased my memories back in the day. I don't remember much about you or anything, Kilbride, but it's slowly coming back. I just want us to be friendly." And then when they start talking about their gifts again, Corlin sort of slightly mentions that he has immortality. Basically saying the gift that Lasher gave him keeps him well protected. Corlin, you moron. But the true story episode is this scene that I thought was going nowhere. Is Larkin, he wakes up in the middle of the night. The girl that flashed him is there. She gets on top of him, knocks him out. These two other witches pull this needle and thread, and it's like, ooh, creepy, culty stuff. But it does come back later at the very end of the episode. Rowan does have, I don't want to say a good part, but of this episode, she's underneath the tunnel. Start using her fire gift to try to find the Lasher, see if the flame goes stronger, because he'll be near. But she finds the door that he was at when he had his little mental breakdown. And there is Ian's wife and their youngest, Bonnie. Remember the one that they bound their flesh to, so something bad happens to the whole family. It actually happens to Bonnie, not them. Basically, they stole from the Vampire Diaries. Remember watching the Vampire Diaries. And they actually or at least the wife, she actually gives Rowan a bottle of Lasher's blood. She's like, "Here, that's what you want, right?" I'm sorry, but the Scottish accent. I'm sorry, that's mean. It just came out. Yeah, you're sorry about your wife. You want Lasher's blood? Here it is. Now get the hell out of my country, and get out of my land, my castle, and all that. Then they have this weird little part because they make Bonnie give Rowan the blood, and Rowan doesn't just not accept the blood. She takes her coat off and gives it to the little girl, and it's so why? Like why? I mean, it's to show that Rowan cares. She's a good person. She wouldn't want a child to freeze, and that's good and all. Small acts of kindness are really great, especially in the real world. But why would the fuck was that? Um, but why would you just have her do that randomly in the scene? It makes no sense. Except the show, except for the writers, and clearly the showrunner, because she actually stated this in the behind the scenes for episode 1, that they want Rowan to appear always good to the audience. So what else to make Rowan look like a good, awesome hero if she were to give her coat to a little girl for no reason whatsoever? You know, she's racing. She lives there, so she probably kind of used to the cold. I don't know. Is Scotland cold? I'm not. I don't know. 1 second. Oh, it's recording again. Okay, I'm back. Um, but like Roland's like, yeah, this is a trick. I need to see Lasher. Or no, first where's Moira? Maybe we get this fun little interaction with Moira. So apparently she's been guarded by this tough, just like this, I guess this tough fighter girl named Fiona who just has a knife. And when Rowan gets there, she asks Moira like, "Oh, how's this person?" Like, "Oh, she has a head of lettuce. Her brain's like lettuce." Once again, Moira is not Mona from the books, but I like the actress. She's one of the few one of the few ones that are actually really doing something for me this season. But even then, she's like, "Wait, they gave you Lasher's blood? Then why are we still here? Let's just leave. These the Scotland family is creepy. They're scary. They're Midsummer cosplayers meet Texas Chainsaw Massacre wannabes. Let's get out of here." But she's like, "No. What if they're gonna do something to Lasher? I need to save him. He's my boy. He's my son." And like, girl, you're just obsessed with the power he gives you. Which basically is kind of supposed to be Rowan's arc this season. That she's obsessed with Lasher. That she doesn't love him because she only wants the power he gives her. Or she's going to learn to actually love him at the very end. I have no idea. I have no idea. But it's fun to watch people call Rowan out on her bullshit. But Rowan throws a temper tantrum, starts blowing the doors down. Which I don't remember was one of her powers telekinesis. No, yeah, she just shows something like that in the first episode, though. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, she starts throwing the doors out, threatening to destroy the castle if she can't find Lasher. They give in, and she goes to meet Lasher. And even Lasher, he's like, "You just only want me for the gifts I can give you. You don't want me for what I can do for you. You don't really care about me like that. But hey, we can make a good ceremony. You can give me away at the wedding, and also I know my backstory. I know where I came from." And we'll take a break from that to jump over to Cyprian, and he's at the head of the Talamasca in Amsterdam, and they're once again talking about the interview, the vampire novel. So I'm guessing this everything, because the show still takes place in 2022, right? So right now they're like asking each other what to do about the Daniel Malloy book, because once it hits prints, No, just or get Prince. I don't know. No, because they said last episode, like, how are you handling, like, ever since the Malloy book, things are getting out of hand. But now they said the Cyprian's like, oh, I read the manuscript. Hey, why you read the manuscript? Can you just buy a copy? Aren't there just copies hanging about? I mean, it's your job to study these things. So I'm getting mixed messages. I'm also getting mixed messages because I thought Raglan James' whole point in Interview with the Vampire was because he wanted the Talamasca, or at least some members of the Talamasca, actually wanted the book to go published. They wanted that. So why are you acting like, oh, how to discredit the book? And Cyprian's like, yes, make people think it's fiction. Like, I thought Talamasca wanted the book out in the public. At the end of Interview with the Vampire Season 2, Daniel said they made him edit a lot of stuff out. So, what is it, writers? You're. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't just. Did you not freaking watch the last season, at least the last episode of Interview with the Vampire before you wrote this? You know this but two completely different teams because they do not give a fuck about continuity. The writers are so fucking incompetent. They couldn't just watch the last few episodes of Interview with the Vampire. And this is why you fucking need a team directly responsible for continuity. So shit like this doesn't fucking happen. I'm so sorry, it's just I hate this show and its incompetence. And okay, moving on. They so Cyprian. No, sorry. Let's go to the part. So Cyprian is made the head of the Talamasca of New Orleans, and that was very quick. I mean, I thought this was gonna be like a whole little mini subplot where Cyprian has to win the right to be the leader of the New Orleans division or something. Like he had to have a psychic battle or prove himself as a good leader. No, he's just given the rights of. He's just given the rights. So, yay! Good for you, Cyprian. It'd been nice if you kind of earned it. Maybe he did. I don't really know if he did. But they wheeled the body of a mummified Tautos, so they can. So, Cyprian can touch it, not like that, and learn all its secrets to figure out who and what it was. What's the purpose of Tautos? And they see the body, and it's obviously Lasher. And he's like, "This is Lasher. I know the Tautos. They're a force of evil, going by Lasher standards." And he's like, "Give me a minute. I need to prepare before I learn his history." So the whole part with Cyprian touching Lasher's body, not like that, to see his memories, mixes in with Lasher telling Rowan about his backstory. Now, the backstory that they give Lasher in the show is similar to what it was in the books, but they cut out like a whole bunch of it, As the section in the book is like over, I think at least 100 pages. Like, it's pretty long. And, one second. Sorry about that. I'm really busy. Yeah, but section that part of the book is very, very long, and just like most of Anne Rice novels, at least the ones I read, she is very detailed. So, if it was to be like almost a one for one of the book, you could give Lasher's backstory is a whole episode. It could be nothing but him, and it'd be really cool, very rich in lore. That's not what they do. It's not what they do. So yeah, they do get some things. They do keep some things from the book. That he was his father was the Lord of Donalith, and his mother was the queen. In the book, I think they said it was actually Anne Boleyn who was his mother. And because of, witches and their weird genetics, for one reason or another, he was born as a Tautos. And just like we said earlier in other videos, that Tautos have the power, well, not really power, their bodies just age rapidly. And we see it in the show, and his father takes him, and he brings him back to Donnerleaf, but the time they get there, he's already like 10, 12 years old, and it's only been like a few days, so that keeps track. And the book, though, it's a little different, because if I remember correctly, the Lord of Dunleaf like shows off his strange growing boy to his friends. They're like all weirded out, like, what the heck? It's some kind of monster, a magical creature. And he sends them off to Italy, and at Italy Italy he becomes a priest. He becomes a healer. He becomes known as Saint Ashlar, or because he's named after the Saint Ashlar. Because in the show they keeps calling him Ashlar and acting like he's Saint Ashlar. Well, no, Saint Ashlar and the Ashlar Lasher are two separate people, but the show just seems to combine them in one. And in the book, though, he lives most of his life not really knowing what he is. He knows he has these strong sexual desires, and it disturbs him, but he doesn't really do anything with it. Except for one night where he goes to a brothel, does a bunch of things with, I think, a bunch of women. But when he wakes up, he finds that they all died. And we know this from the show that Tautos can only breed with a certain types of people. If not, the woman will hemorrhage and die pretty much after the intercourse. Now this highly disturbs Lasher, keeps him off of sex. He gets approached by a member of the Talamasca, and they try to warn him about who and what he is. He doesn't want to listen. He goes back to Donnerleaf. He meets another Tautos, or at least a witch who's like a Tautos, who's close enough to being Tautos, and they go at it on the table, and they just start producing tons of babies. Like they just pop out and like within minutes of conception, and then they just keep going at it until there's like a whole bunch of babies, and and once there's enough Tautos babies just growing rapidly, they take them out to like this fire or a lake and burn and crush them all. I'm sorry for spoilers, but I should have warned you guys. But like that's a basic description of Lasher's backstory. I left a lot of stuff out, but that's the basic line. And the show, though, after he's taken by his father back to Donnerleaf, is completely different. So, going with what we saw last episode and earlier this season, in this continuity, Tautos have the power to heal. Now, Lasher did have the power to heal in the book, but it was kind of vague how he did it. Or unless maybe he was just really good at medicine, or maybe it was a natural power of his. And here, though, Lasher, what he does is that when his blood is exposed to the earth or elements, it just basically creates life. Because we see, it's so funny. Lasher says his father taught him about the wolves and how to use them. And this little horrible CGI wolf comes up to like probably a week old Lasher, bites him on the wrist, and his blood starts going underground, and trees and grass start growing right away. What I don't understand is why the thing about the wolves. Why the thing about the wolves? Because he's like, my father taught me to control the wolves. So the Tautos or just Lasher in general have the power over wolves or maybe many different types of animals. All right, sure, that's different from the book, but that's not my complaint. My complaint is, why have we seen this throughout the season? Why have we seen this throughout the season that Lasher can speak to animals, or that animals naturally come to defend him? We never seen it. It's brought up this one time, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be mentioned anywhere in the last episode. And show it's so fucking stupid. Why would you introduce something that could be potentially cool and unique when the show is at the literal end? Whatever. Show Lasher says he became a priest, and with his blood he saved the children. And then he looks up at the top of the church balcony, and he sees Annalith, An Annalith, Annalith. I forgot how to pronounce that name. Annalith. I'll call that Annalith. Emeleth. That's right, her name. Emeleth. He sees Emeleth. The sky kind of darkens, and boom, cut to modern day. And Lasher's like, I need to do this. Like, when I was a spirit and didn't know the real reason why I wanted to come back to the world, I was a monster. I was a complete dickhead. I killed so many people. I need to atone for this. The only way I know how to is to fulfill my purpose and bang Emeleth and produce a bunch of Taltos babies who can restore nature. That just okay. Okay. You're cool, fine. But but no. No. This kind of freaks Cyprian out learning all this. He's like, the Taltos are a force for good. Lasher's a force for good. You think we spend a little bit more time on this, of him having this kind of mental breakdown that the man he's been wanting to kill and capture, probably not in that order, like for weeks now, is technically not that bad of a person. He was only like that because he had no memories of who he was. And you think that we kind of hold on that emotional tone, but this is Mayfair, which is why would they do that? We go back to Dunedin. Rowan decides to stay to give Lasher away and kind of deal with the fact that she's kind of a power hungry bitch, which not a bad thing, but is getting people hurt now. So you think she would stop it? Rowan calls Cortland. He's like, "Oh, really? You won't say for the wedding?" And then she makes some comment, or was this the last episode? No, I'm getting things mixed up, but I sworn she said, "You're trying to be good. You're trying to be better." And I'm thinking, yeah, but this is a very rushed story arc. Cortland's was only frozen that statue for like 3 days, and then if my timeline of the show is correct, he's only been reanimated for a little over or just a week. So Cortland has not really put in the work to redeem himself for killing so many people, assaulting so many women. I mean, maybe it's like the show where, maybe it's only the show where it was only Deidre because Lasher told him to. But if it's the book Cortland, oh boy, how many people that man hurt? I can even guess. Well, the idea is like he's earned his redemption because he's trying. No. But he tries to get in better graces with Ian because he sees Ian acting a fuss outside. He's like, his Father Julian. He wants to come back into the world, and he wants to witness the wedding, but he wants to use my son Hamish as his vessel. And then Cortland's like, "Hey, Father can't do that. He can't destroy your son's life. So let's go into the Vitrola and confess him together." And the second he said that I'm gonna go in the Vitrola with you and teach Father some of our mind. I knew what the fuck was gonna happen. I knew it. So Hamish, he's the anchor or the rope, so their spirits go into the Vitrola. There's Julian, Ted Levine, love him. He's nothing like the book character. And they start acting immediately. They start acting suspicious. He's like, "Oh yeah, Hamish. What about Hamish?" Because Ian, unsurprisingly, told Julian about Cortland's semi-immortality that Lasher gave him. And not Lasher, Julian was like, the funny thing about these anchors things is that the person outside can send a rope to whoever he wants to. So Hamish pulls out his father. Then Julian's like, I'm gonna lock living in your body. I'm gonna lock immortality. And then Hamish sends him out. And now Cortland's soul is trapped in the Vitrola, which I thought the whole spirit room Vitrola thing was a part of Cortland. Not Cortland, Julian. That Julian made it. That it was a extension of himself. So does that mean it's going to change because Cortland's there now? I have no idea. I have no idea how this magic works. But now Julian is back into the physical world. He's using Cortland's body as his new vessel, or however you want to word it, his meat suit. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna. I don't hate talking like a yang, but at least I'm now immortal. This body will live forever. And don't you worry about Rowena. I got my own plans for her." Everyone gets dressed up for the wedding. Even Larkland, he's confused as heck because he's been asleep the whole day. They get to the wedding, and it's this whole, once again, midsummer cosplay. And it's really nice. I like the look of it, especially the flowers they make Lasher's wedding suit or wedding gear out of. It looks cool. They have, oh god, I don't know if this is cool or stupid. They have like four guys holding Lasher back by like a leash or something, and they have the same thing holding Emeleth back because, hey, they're Tautos. They're very sexual driven creatures. The moment they see a Tautos of the opposite sex, they're gonna run at each other and immediately just blink it in. No foreplay necessary. It's just whamming in and boom, baby in the 5 or 10 minutes. But I don't know. It's kind of cool. It makes sense for the lore. It even makes sense for the lore of the book. But it's simultaneously silly and stupid. But I do like the costume, the dress they put Rowan in the episode. It's like a bluish dress. He has like this eyeliner on. It's one of the few times the costume department gave Alexander Daddario something cool to wear. But yeah, the wedding goes on because I don't know why there has to be a wedding. Is it something just for the people? Is it actually going to do something to Lasher and MLF? I have no idea. But yeah, the wedding goes on. After it ends, the people holding the ropes let go. The two Tautil run up to fuck each other, and they drop this big blanket or whatever over them because they're like in patio. What's the word I'm looking for? Gazebo thing. And they drop this. I don't know what I'm calling it. I can't think of the word. They drop this thing so they can't see the sexy time happening. And Ian, to some reason, because I'm not even sure what Rowan can do in this situation, he takes his hand, cuts himself, instead of cutting him. Alright? Instead of cutting him, the cut appears on Larkin. So that's what happened in the very beginning of the episode. They made Larkin the new anchor to the family. So whatever happens to the main Mayfair Scotland branch family will happen to Larkin, which fine, but I don't really care about Larkin. I ain't gonna care if this character dies. I might kind of care if Rowan dies just because she's the main character. I'm gonna care about this dude. And that's when the episode ends. Oh no, there's one more scene. We get one more scene with Cyprian and this new Telemasca agent. They're in the lake where Lasher's body, his original body, was discovered, and he can't pull any new memories out. He needs to get further into Kill a Bride. And then this cop shows up. They play like dumb tourists from Amsterdam. The cop's like, "Oh, you're a tourist, right? You ain't going nowhere." And it cuts right there. So we don't know what happened to them. They probably got taken to some kind of jail. I mean, but I don't know why. I'm not sure what this woman's psychic ability is. She probably doesn't have one, but she does. Why didn't they do anything? Maybe it's not offensive ability, which no, that's cool. I like that. But why wouldn't they send someone with offensive capabilities? I mean, they do know that they're going to retrieve Lasher, which may or may not be dangerous. They do know that there is at least one. Well, I don't think about it. They don't know about the Mayfair branch family in Scotland, but they do know that not Larkin. Albrecht might be there. That he may have his own forces at play. Why wouldn't you bring someone with an offensive capabilities? Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they'll show that later in the last episode. But yeah, this was this episode, and besides Lasher's backstory, I did not care for it. Like most of the show, I don't mind the changes that they're making to the Tautos. Because if you read the novel, Lasher, I haven't finished the last novel, Tautos, but you read the novel of Lasher, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I feel like Anne Rice was trying to make her own branch of fairies. Because Tautos in real life mythology are kind of like homunculus. They're like man-made people. But in her novels, Tautos are like kind of like these, I guess you could call them like fairies. Because they're like these weird people that grow up super fast. They're super sexual. They want milk all the time, kind of like fairies want sugar. And they are kind of connected to witches and little people. I'm not sure that what she was trying to do with that last part, but it feels like she was trying to make her own version of a fae. And I kind of like this idea that Lasher, at least in the show, has these nature abilities that he can heal and bring life to the earth. It's different from the books, but I don't mind how they're doing it. Don't what I don't like is that it took so long for us to show this. I mean, there was that little hint at the beginning of episode 3, I think, or episode 2, where he bled on this beetle and it rejuvenated it. But there should have been more things like that. Like, what if that vampire, whatever his name was supposed to be, bit Lasher and his blood had this strange effect on him? What if Lasher bled on a member of the family, like somebody he accidentally killed, and it starts healing them? Like, you could hint a little bit more at what Lasher can do, and that his true purpose is to be a healer, and it's him being a spirit, being tied to the Mayfairs, seeing the worst of humanity is what turned him into a psychopath. And there's so many unique ideas that could have been done. Like, I don't mind all the ideas that they brought for the show. Most of them aren't awful, but some are okay, like what they're doing with Lasher. But they stray so far from the book that you can't even call it an adaptation anymore. Inspired by, sure, maybe, but this is not what people wanted. I mean, or is there people who didn't read the books? For the people who don't read the books and they like the show, awesome for you. I might like this show better if it wasn't if I didn't read the books. But I still hate I think I would still hate the show. Because bringing back to his older brother, Interview with the Vampire. Very different from the books. Does a lot of things different from the books I can't stand. But the show is amazing. The show is awesome all by itself. And I think it's earned its ability to separate itself from the books here and there. Mayfair Witches throws the books out of the water whenever it feels like it. Oh, and Rice said most of which abilities are like psychic abilities and mutations. Throw that out of the book and say, no, it's all mystical. Oh, Lasher is supposed to be like this weird invisible spirit thing that has no real physical form. Season 1, throw that out and just have the actor just appear real ghostly. Oh, we have two main characters that have their own unique differences and this and that, and they have their own unique connections to Rowan. Throw that out, merge them into one character, and make that character nothing like those two characters. Oh, the big secret um thing of the Telemasca in the first two books. Throw that out, make it more simple, just make it just one guy being weird and creepy. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. However, there's one more episode to go. I'm glad to see the show ending here. Well, they might do it season 3, but for what little bit I know is going to happen in the third book, because I still need to finish it, I don't know how they could do a season 3 unless it's all new original material. Which, if it is, I might give it a more fair pass. But I still want to know why it just couldn't be faithful from the books. And I know it's because the people writing the show don't like the books. You can just tell by watching the show they do not care. I do not know why they took on this project except for money. Because, like I said, Interview with the Vampire, you can tell people like the books. The people who write the show like the books. Or at least understand them and understand what should be changed, what should be kept, what should be tweaked. Mayfair Witches, I'm pretty sure they just get their ideas from a dartboard or Chat GPT. Alright, I'm gonna go. I have stuff to do that's not Mayfair related. One more episode to go, and this show is gone for a year. Thank the freaking God.